All right, Pisces. Happy birthday to those February Pisces. Happy to be back with everybody this month. So, first off, we have the Two of Pentacles with the Nine of Swords. Some of you, I don't know, losing a revenue stream, or struggling to pay off some debt. And I only say that because we also have this over here. But I feel like there's this fear of choosing, okay? Because the Two of Pentacles is saying that we have options, but I feel like they're very different avenues, okay? They're related in some fashion, but they're very different avenues. And with the Nine of Swords here, it's like they both would serve you no matter what. And we really can never make a wrong choice, because whatever choice we make is the choice that we need, and everything will get rectified down the road. So I feel like what you're allowing to like push your decision making is the Five of Cups with the Six of Pentacles, which is the old, right? Going backwards, or being afraid of losing something. You may be afraid of losing a relationship with a Virgo, or you may be afraid of losing a social life. Or you just feel like, especially if your money situation is not flowing the way you want, you're like, well, am I ever going to be able to have fun anymore? I don't want to be the kind of person that's cooped up in the house and is just always saving money, or whatever the case may be. With the Five of Swords as well, there's a need to just get on with things. I almost feel like you did lose one thing, but if you keep moping about it, you're going to lose more. And that's not like on some like fear-mongering warning. Like, I just feel like that may be the case. Also, I always feel like the Hermit and the Five of Cups guy can be akin because they're dressed pretty similar. And it's like, to get them, like, if you're going to be sad and mope, right? I feel like it's really important to like learn something from it. Like, if you had something go awry, especially financially, where you can't expend the amount of cash that you wanted to anymore, you have to change your lifestyle and habits. You want to use that time away from your preferred lifestyle as a point of reflection. Also, with the Six of Pentacles, I feel like you'll receive a lot more from people if you leave old baggage behind. You may consider yourself like a lone wolf, or someone who, it's like you may be seen as someone, but ultimately you feel like you're just this like loner. So also, if you don't feel like your relationships of any kind are really fair, and that everyone gets the same amount of value out of your connections, I feel like it's also important to check in with yourself and make sure you're celebrating the best parts of yourself. Do you bond with people over your more positive attributes, like that are just fun and lighthearted and, you know, jovial, or do you bond with people over the heavier stuff? Or do you isolate what's really going on with yourself from your friends as well? Because sometimes we can have a strong social group, but we're not like intimately close with other people in our social group, and that can be detrimental for our overall well-being. So that's something to consider as well. All right, Pisces. So this month, don't mind my broken nail, is going to be all about really honoring yourself and identifying with the parts of you, I mean all of you, but the parts of you that don't normally feel valuable, because they're valuable in an impractical manner. And when I say impractical, I mean like surface-wise, obviously, because every part of our being serves a purpose and is purposeful. But I feel like this month you need to get in touch with your worth in a different way than you normally do. And there's a need to realize that we build tomorrow today. But even also with that, one, we could never rob ourselves of the mystery. Like, you need to know that. You need to know that though on some level passivity breeds mystery, it doesn't breed necessarily the kind that you want or need or fear that you're going to miss by attending to your life in a more cognizant, present manner. So this is about what happens when you let life happen, but also respond accordingly in a way that brings you more happiness, more freedom, more expansion, not just being a bystander of your own life. Your overall energy for this month is the Queen of Wands. And there's a need to really give yourself an ego boost, I feel. Really be confident and courageous and kind of, what you might identify as arrogant. I feel like you might need that level of arrogance this month. Because I feel like you also need to see yourself as desirable. I feel like it's important to see yourself as someone who's creative, and has tenacity and has an edge to them. And I feel like also the moves that you're making this month should not be about anyone's approval, but should be about just your raw desire to be or to do whatever it is that you want to do. Because the Queen of Wands, I wouldn't necessarily call her a leader, because I don't think she's really concerned about who follows her. But she's a leader in the sense that she does what she pleases, and she beats to her own drum. Not necessarily in a whimsical way, which I feel like Pisces energy is very whimsical to me. But she commands, she's also very, avant-garde, in my opinion. Like, she's the kind of person that would dress what some people would consider outlandish, but, no one would question her for it because she looks so good doing it because she's confident, right? So it's those parts of yourself that you think are weird, or I'm feeling like I need to say the word, zany, the parts of yourself that you think are, wrong or just off. Those are the parts of yourself that need to get celebrated this month more than ever. And then you have this card. These cards came up as a pair for your overall wisdom for the month. We have Guardian Angel, and we have Awakening. So if you have lost a family member that you were really close with, or just someone, again, that you were very, very close with, even if you lost them a while ago, you may be awakening to the fact that they're communicating all the time with you. Also, you may be awakening to the truth that you've met a guardian angel in the human form. I feel like some of you have met someone, not romantic per se, but you've met someone that is an earth angel, or is your guardian angel, was sent on your path to guide you to this level of empowerment in some way, right? The topics that we're talking about this month. An awakening to your own power. Because there is this idea of committing to being happy and just believing in that the overall choosing yourself and committing to that is the best lesson that we can have. But I definitely feel like some of you are getting divine guidance on the earthly plane from a physical human that doesn't necessarily know that they're acting out as a guardian angel for you. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, but what you're being asked to release this month is the Ace of Cups with the Queen of Pentacles. And on the Queen of Pentacles, we have the rune Self. Oh, and before I forget, I'm currently on hiatus from one-on-one readings, but you guys can still purchase extended and love readings in the description box below. And I released my first ever book in Body of Writing. It is a collection of poetry. And if you're interested in seeing that, that's also in the description box below. Anyways, I should have said that 10 minutes ago. What you're being asked to leave behind, I feel like, is thinking that opportunities can only get birthed, or that you're only lovable, or that you're only serving from the heart and living from the heart if you are constantly putting in all the effort. Also, I feel like there's something here about you think people only love you for what you do for them. And you may have encountered people like that at some point, because the Queen of Pentacles with the rune self is saying that you identify as this Queen of Pentacles energy, someone that has to add value to everything, someone that has to have a lot to physically offer. And I feel like you may also have this belief that you don't have a lot to physically offer people in love, like that you're still a work in progress or something, which we kind of all are forever a work in progress. So there's no need to like, again, there's a need to have an ego boost this month, because I feel like you're seeing yourself as someone who's just like toiling away all the time. Because the Queen of Pentacles is very self-sufficient, but she also has no time for other stuff. And the Ace of Cups is inviting you to, I feel like, identify with your value in a new way and find a new point of attraction or a new offering to give people that love you, or a new way of being loved. Okay? Because I feel like there's an issue, if you will, right now around you feel like you need to give more physically in order to be considered like worth love or worthwhile. The door that's not open that was once closed. We have the Six of Pentacles again, clarified by the Nine of Wands. And on the Six of Pentacles, we have the rune Success. So I feel like you're in a position where you have just enough to give people. And people have just enough to give to you. Okay, because the Six of Pentacles with Success is getting our needs met. And pretty effortlessly as well. We don't have to say more than a peep. Like, we just know that if we make a request of somebody, or somebody makes a request of us, like, you don't even think twice about it. And I feel like, okay, especially because we live in a culture where saying no is like bitchy or taboo, or being passive is a route we take instead. I feel like everyone very, very, very rarely, like, has only a handful, if that, if not one or two, relationships where they know, no questions asked, what they ask of you or what you ask of them is going to be done no matter what. Like, there's just this innate trust. So, like, you know what? I'm asking them to do something for me that costs money or that costs time and that's valuable, right? And they're going to do it, no questions asked. And they're going to do it because they know that you're going to give them the same thing. And I know that's just, I could just say, oh, it's reciprocity, but it's like next level because it feels innate. Like, you just know that it's going to get done. You just know that it's going to get handled. And yes, there is still some reservation of people in the past taking advantage of what you're willing to do for them, or taking advantage of your time, or feeling, sometimes too, if we have a codependent tendency, we're afraid that we're going to enable people, or that we're going to get codependent on people. So sometimes we like keep our ground or keep our distance. But because the scales are here twice in this reading, I feel like it's going to be very easy for you to measure reciprocity going forward. And it's going to be very easy for you to measure and weigh when your old experiences and your trauma or your, past endeavors are speaking, or if the weight of the current situation is actually causing them to be equal to your fears. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you are in a position to have a lot more to give. And again, it's not so much about what you can give monetarily or financially, but more so what you give energetically and emotionally and spiritually. So just know that everything is getting exchanged evenly, as long as you don't stand in a space of withholding. I feel like that's really important this month, to not withhold, because mostly you're going to lose out. You withholding from the scenario ultimately robs you of, I feel like, experience. Again, because we're talking about guardian angel and awakening, so I feel like you're coming alive to guidance and divine direction. Okay? The center energy is super interesting. So your current energy as it relates to all of this, in your head, we have the Four of Wands. In your heart, the Seven of Pentacles with the Knight of Wands. And then in the foundation, these cards fell out like this. So I feel like they are kind of like two separate messages, and we'll go into it accordingly. So we have Justice. And on Justice, we have the rune Journey. And then we have the Sun with the Hierophant. So with the Four of Wands in your headspace, I feel like you're very content and stable in the way that you make decisions, in the way that you think. I feel like you're finally speaking from a very grounded place as well. I also feel like you've found a safe space to communicate in. And maybe this space that, you know, with this guardian angel type person. But I also feel like mentally you're more open to using a spiritual message or a spiritual backbone in your decision making. Because with the Four of Wands in your head, I feel like you are very much secure in what you believe. And I think that you found your true few, if you will, or you found a space where you feel celebrated. And I feel like speaking your mind feels like a safe thing to do. And you know that you're going to be supported. Not that people are going to agree with you per se, but people are going to support you and they're going to listen to you. I feel like there's a lot of energy around you right now where people are listening and people are offering supportive advice or supportive banter, but just overall being there for you. And I also feel like you're ready to have more stability in your life and you're finally open to the idea of not necessarily putting down roots, but putting down some type of like routine that involves other people. In your head with the Seven, or just me, in your heart with the Seven of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands and success, I feel like the key to success right now, especially when it comes to your emotional body and your and your energetic body, whatever you've been waiting on to manifest, or if you've been waiting for the right opportunity to say how you feel, Spirit is saying just do it. Just do it because you're in a safe space. If you care about somebody, don't be afraid of judgment, because I feel like it's important that you just speak on what's in your heart. Because with the Seven of Pentacles here, there's this hesitancy and the waiting type of energy of like waiting for something to happen. But the Knight of Wands is saying just do it. Because you also may be getting news that something that you've been waiting on has in fact arrived. It's like you catch a whiff of it. Or sometimes we feel in our heart and in our spirit that something has arrived before it actually materializes. So if you're getting that feeling of victory or feeling of home or feeling like you finally arrived at some type of pinnacle that you've been waiting on arriving at, just know that just because you can't see it doesn't mean you're not there. But I do feel like there's a need to act and take action in this area and on this energy that you're really vibing at internally. Especially if you have a tendency to hold back how you feel. Like you can have a ton of feelings but not know how to verbally share them, or not tell another person how much they mean to you. And I feel like that needs to happen, because again, in your foundation, on the one hand, we have Justice with Journey, and this is saying that 100%, I feel like you're at a point in your life where you have paid for your imbalances. We'll say it like that. So if you have any type of fear that like your actions are going to reap negative karma, or that, you know, you've done dirty to people, so it's only a matter of time before you have to pay back or have that dirty done to you or whatever, I feel like that's all done. At least done to the point where you shouldn't be super or allow it to inhibit your decision making. Because there's a level of fairness here as well. So again, if you're afraid to share anything that you feel, anything you have going on with the people that are close to you, I feel like this is just saying to trust that everyone will, like, it'll serve everyone in the way that it's intended. With the sun and the hair, and I'm sorry if it seems choppy, by the way, my camera keeps cutting out. So with the sun and the Hierophant here, I feel like what you're finally committing to is not only happiness, but I feel like living in the sun is something that you're committing to. Meaning, right, Pisces is ruled, not ruled by the moon, but in the tarot is ruled by the moon. And that's complete hiddenness, right? Things moving in shadow, things moving in darkness, things being unclear, having to only listen to our intuition as guidance, right? And the sun is very alive. And the sun is literally the complete opposite. So life may on some level feel like it's being turned on its head, or like you're expressing a part of yourself that normally is completely dormant. But I feel like what you're committing to is also visibility. I feel like you're committing to living out loud and being seen by everybody, but by the people that matter. And what you're going to learn through this visibility and willingness to be seen is that there's a lot to learn when you're just willing to be out in the open. And I feel like people will learn a lot from you. So there's a level of transparency that you're stepping into that I feel like is going to be beneficial for not only you, but the people that you keep around you. And there's also something with these two people here with the sun in the middle about being official. Okay? Things being very official. Whether that be like a legal document, or like people know about you in this guardian angel type person, or people who know about your spiritual awakening, or people can see your happiness, people can see that inner child vibe that you're really letting out. Now, Spirit's advice for you at this time is the Eight of Pentacles with the Wheel of Fortune. And on the Wheel of Fortune, we have the ruined future. And this is what I was saying before, where tomorrow changes today. If we want to see the effects of our commitment, or see the effects of the changes that we're making on ourselves, we have to dedicate ourselves every single day to creating that energy. So with the Eight of Pentacles here, this is saying to focus on what you want to improve, and focus on the parts of yourself and the parts of your life that you want to feel like a master of. I also feel like what you need to focus on is momentum and direction with the Wheel of Fortune here in future. Because being future focused, I feel like is the key right now. And again, being focused on freedom, being focused on living in a very avant-garde manner. You can like focus on yourself while also focusing on expression. Like it may seem contradictory to be kind of extroverted, but also diligent and focused on your efforts. But I feel like it's important that you have a balance between extroversion and introversion right now in order to not get stir crazy, and in order to keep your eye on the prize, if you will. Because we never really know what's going to happen in the future, but we might as well put in the effort to achieve what it is that we desire. Moving into March, we have the Two of Swords with the Seven of Cups. On the Seven of Cups, we have the blank rune, Destiny. So again, nothing is ever 100% clear. And going into March, I feel like even though you've been working really hard on building a future, or focusing on having more and being in a more perfected state, I feel like going into March, you're still going to be unsure about what that really means. And I think making decisions is going to be more so difficult than other things for you, because we do have, again, the Two of Swords and the Seven of Cups, which both talk about options and not really wanting to decide. And I feel like I have to just say to be a conscious player in your life. Be a conscious, active player in your life. Don't allow things to just happen. Because sometimes we can say, oh, I missed my opportunity. But did you even take it? Or did you let it pass you by a couple times? Because Spirit is telling you this month that whatever decision you act on, even though it may seem like out the blue or it may seem really quick, there's a lot of support around you to ground it and to make it official. okay, whatever that means for you. And there will be more work down the road to keep it growing and to keep it, you know, active and to keep it as a positive, expanded part of you. But the Two of Swords is a little bit of a denial energy. And just being like, well, things aren't clear. I don't know. Nothing is a sure thing. Okay? Nothing is a sure thing, Pisces. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.